Welcome back, Fragrance Fiend here today with an absolute classic. It is Santal 33 by Labo. When the brand launched in 2006, they released 10 fragrances and one candle, which would be Santal 26. Soon after, it would become a room spray, and then one of the CEOs in the company smelt it on someone, asked what it was, and it turned out to be the room spray Santal 26. Then eventually became the fragrance everybody knows and mostly loves. Words really cannot describe the impact this fragrance has had on the entire industry, and surprisingly, it wasn't the marketing which actually led to the success of this fragrance. The Labo were created with the intention of being against the grain, creating unique perfumes for unique personalities, and not really for mass consumption. And even today, when you go to smell their lineup, you know that each and every one of their fragrances is not going to be applicable to each and every person out there. But to the vast majority, you might find about 3 or 4 you really click with, and the rest more so for the experienced wearer or niche appreciator. From my research, I've actually gathered multiple tales of its inspiration when it was created. Originally inspired by the Marlboro smoking man, then kind of by the old American West, and I've even read it's supposed to smell like the streets of New York. I feel like it's possibly been done to appeal to a wider audience, as a lot of people do state that the original formation was a lot more smoky, leathery, and heavily masculine. But let's read what the brand has to say about it today. Imagine sitting in solitude on the rugged, white plains of the American West. Firelight on your face, indigo-blue night skies above. There is nothing around save for the soft desert wind. You are free. From this defining vision was born Santal 33, a perfume that touches the vast and wild universality of this dream. Here is, in a few words, what Santal 33 is: an open fire, the soft drift of smoke where sensuality rises after the light has gone. Then if you manage to find some old retailers or even use the AI feature on Google, it literally says that it's inspired by the American Midwest and the Marlboro cowboy, but I believe they've removed themselves from that cowboy element over possibly recent years. So you probably already know that this is the best-selling fragrance from the brand and one of the best-selling niche fragrances of all time. I feel like I did actually hear this statistic recently, but don't quote me on it, but I believe that Santal 33 makes up 80% of the sales and the rest combined. So let's get into the note breakdown. On the website, it simply suggests cardamom, iris, violet, sandalwood, and cedarwood. So as the name suggests, Santal 33 has in fact 33 notes in it, minus the 5, you're left with 28. What could they be? Let's have a little guess. Call it overrated as much as you want, but there really is nothing like it. I've smelt the dupes, they do not come close to my nose. I get to the average nose, you probably get that like 80% similarity, but realistically, when you break down the natural materials, there's a lot of minor facets which really separate them apart. And with the vision they give you, they're really on the money. It does give you that sensation of fire crackling, the cardamom is spicy. I feel like there's definitely a tiny bit of black pepper in there as well. But obviously it's that sandalwood which dominates, of course sourced nowhere else than my state of Western Australia. I am biased, but this species of sandalwood is my personal favorite. With that spice, you get this element of dirtiness. It almost smells like sand in an oddly appealing way. If you've ever gone to a desert, with Australia mostly being a desert, you probably get what I mean when it smells like sand and gravel, with a bit of a birchy undertone as well. And on top of all that, you also have a really dominating leather note. Quite unlike many other leathers, I'm not usually a fan of leather notes in perfumes as they are very synthetic. This one, however, just smells a lot more natural, almost like a bit of a vintage aged jacket, but quite velvety as well. The cedarwood definitely sits in the background, but it gives the fragrance that creamy texture. As it begins to dry down, without it, it would just be way too harsh on the nose. Then as the spicy elements begin to settle and the cardamom begins to fade, you get that intake of iris and violet, which I feel adds that other dimension to this fragrance. Obviously it's built around the leather and the sandalwood, but it's really those two notes which begin to settle into the fragrance throughout the dry down and make you fall in love with the fragrance again after the opening. By themselves, iris and violet can have quite a sharp potency to them and often have this very green, obscure tinge, which always sets off my nostrils when it's in almost any other fragrance. To me, it's simply the concentration of each individual note and how much there is. And to me, that makes it a perfectly balanced fragrance. I wouldn't really change a thing about it. And I'd be stupid to say so if I did have a point, because, I mean, its success speaks for itself. Once the woods begin to settle, you're still left with that tiny bit of grittiness. Then you're hit with the secret weapon behind every Labo there is, which is musk. So there is a pretty heavy level of complexity behind this fragrance as well. On top of all that, I do find it pretty versatile. It's a fragrance I can pretty much get away with wearing any day of the year. It really does shine with winter, but where the fragrance really blows me away is obviously the quality of those incredible ingredients and the projection and longevity, which is just through the roof. Whether people know what it is or it isn't, you're bound to get complimented wearing it. I don't make the rules, that's just my experience. So is it worth it in 2025? That's really up to you. There are a lot of dupes out there. To me, they do not come as close. Of course, you can definitely get things kind of similar. They're probably not going to be using the same oils or not even have the same power or longevity. So you be the judge of this one. Try the dupes, try this. I obviously chose to buy the original. Of course, you can also buy the candle or even the body body lotion, which is also incredible. And no joke, if you can't afford the perfume, get the body lotion. This will still last about 4 to 5 hours on your skin. Obviously not have that same level of projection, but they do use a really high concentration of the oils in this, or you can start off with a deodorant as well. Otherwise, be sure to check this classic out. It is pretty overdone. Honestly, I just recommend trying the rest of Labo's fragrances. They've got such an incredible collection. As the brand encourages, be different, stand out, wear something different. I also did read that the actual founders of the brand were quite disappointed with the success of Santal 33 and how it kind of just shot them up to stardom and it overshadowed, I guess, the rest of their lineup. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you next time.